All right, we're back at it again here with another video tutorial for Shopify this time. Welcome everyone to this channel. My name is Edwin Anthony. I am the founder and owner of a popular agency and also owner of Academy Ecommerce. What we're going to learn today is the basic essential setups for Shopify. I'm very excited to teach you guys all of this. And of course, if you guys want to learn more as far as how I teach and these tutorials that are coming up, make sure that you go ahead and check out Academy Ecommerce, which is brand new. It has tons of tutorials that you guys will be excited to learn so that you guys could build your e-commerce store successfully and scale. Without further ado, let's get into this. So right now, what we're looking at is the beginning of Shopify. So I'm pretending that you've already signed up. If you haven't signed up yet, there's a link down at the description of this, and you go ahead and give that a try. That link, what it's going to give you is almost like perhaps a 90-day period from the moment of this video, where you get to try it out for just $1. So make sure that you take advantage of that down below. Aside from that, let's pretend that you've already clicked on that and you added some basic information to the store. Let's go into this version of Shopify that we have existing today and do some preliminary setups, if you may, okay? So if we're at the screen where we're at the home, all right, the first thing that we want to do is go and pay attention to some of the settings that we have going on here. And we want to set up some basic settings right away. The first thing, of course, is to make sure that you have the email address, you have the phone number, and you have the store email. And in order for you to go ahead and do that, make sure that once you click on here on the settings, you click on where it says right here, this button right here, this pencil button, and you get to enter in your information. So if you kind of see a blank, that's for privacy purposes for my client that I'm doing this for. Shout outs to OFX Beast. And then afterwards, you're going to go below where it says billing information. You're going to enter in your billing information as far as how the IRS would understand you or how Shopify would want to bill you. So if there's any billing notifications, it'll be here. If you don't have an LLC to start, that's perfectly fine, or registered business. You could go ahead and put your information first. And then as your business begins to scale, you can then go ahead and upgrade that as you see fit. So as of right now, if you don't have a business, just put your basic information. And once your business starts to scale, you'll go ahead and add the LLC information here on the billing. Right after that, the next most important thing is that you want to go where it says location. Shopify has changed so much. So to avoid any issues ongoing, we want to make sure that our location is set up properly. So right here on the left, you'll notice where it says location, you click on that. And right here, this, by the way, has to do with shipping. So that's why I'm saying it's so important. We got to make sure that we have our location set up. This is regardless if you're doing drop shipping or not. So for the folks that are doing drop shipping, try to see if you could do this as well. Make sure that you have a location actually set up. The location is not something where your customers are going to see, right? This has nothing to do with that. This is more of how shipping gets to figure out, well, where is the product technically going to come from? Rather if it's from your warehouse, from your site location, or from, whatever. Obviously not from China, right? So make sure that we have a location set up. We're going to go ahead and fast forward into this and add a location. Continuing on, once you've added your information, it advises you if you want to start collecting taxes. Now, if you are selling physical products, which I'm guessing you are, it's important, especially in the United States, that you follow your tax laws. Every state in the United States has different tax laws. So if you're from New York or California, there's some nexus tax laws that I cannot advise you. You need to contact your local CPA or somebody that knows about your tax laws in your states. But for this one, I'm going to say yes, go ahead and start collecting taxes for your state. In this case, it's going to be in Florida. I'll go ahead and do that. And that's very important, right? So we're not going to dive too much into that. The whole point is make sure that you have that set up. The location, very, very important. Shop location, you'll notice that Shopify by default just adds shop location inside of the US. We want to make sure that the location that we set up is truly the default one. So I want to see how I could go ahead and ensure that this is in fact the default here versus the shop location. And so in order to do that, we could see right away default location. We could change the default location here, and we'll click on this one where it says select location to the one that we just previously did. And let's go ahead and press save, and you'll notice that the default changes. It changed from, the shop location up until where it says default. That's very, very important. Next up, let's just go ahead through some preliminary checkouts. I know this is very early that we're going through this, but I feel that if we get all of these settings out of the way, they will not get into, it won't serve us any problems after the fact, right? So let's go ahead and go through these very quickly. What we want to do is let's go towards where it says checkout in checkout configurations. Okay, and let's go over these checkout rules to make sure that this is going to exactly how it needs to be. We don't want to deal with this afterwards is what I'm trying to tell you guys. So customer contact method, it's by default where it says phone number or email. I want to say that it should be email. Okay, very important. Not that we shouldn't have phone number, but email is the right way to go. Right here, it says require the customer to log into their account before checkout. We don't have to be that strict, so we're going to leave that off. Show a link for customers to track their orders with Shop. That's really up to you. We could leave that on for now. But email, customer contact method, totally. Not the or for phone number. Phone number, it gets a little bit tricky. Email, you can lock that in. When it comes to customer information, full name, right? What are you collecting? Right here it says only require last name. We don't want to do that. We want to require first and last name. Company name, we're going to make it optional in case if they can't ship stuff to their house because they live, let's say, in a building, and you're like, yo, ship it out to my company because it's more secure there. Address line number 2, we're going to leave that as optional. Best recommended. I think that's the best practice to go there. Optional. And the shipping address phone number, mandatory, absolutely. In case if there's any problems with the shipping, trying to ship it to somebody because they added their address incorrectly, you want to have the ability to call them up or text them and say, hey, I'm trying to ship this out to you, but your address doesn't show valid. Can you just let me know what address I should send this to? And then, they'll contact you. Or also, if there is a fraud order and you want to make sure that that person's real, you have the phone number so that you could call them. Marketing options. Marketing options, this is up to you, but I highly emphasize email being there. You could pre-select it. So they can deselect it if they don't want email marketing, but by default, the email is gold. You need the email, right? Because if they're coming in, rather if they buy or not, if you have their email, you can recover them. Very important. Tipping, there's no need for that. Like, for them to tip you, that's just going to make people feel a certain type of way. So let's not go ahead and not enable that for checkout. It's a little bit aggressive. Address collection preferences. Use the shipping address as billing address by default. No, let's uncheck that. The reason for that is because you're gonna have customers that eventually, they moved and they forgot to update their bank account with the banks. They forgot. They're just like in transition. You're gonna have customers like that they're gonna be like, look, I tried buying something from you and it didn't let me process through, and I'm putting my address, everything's correct, but why? Allow them to separate the billing and the shipping, so that if the billing and the shipping are different, like the billing is the old address but the shipping is the new address, that's what it allows you to do that. Validate the shipping address. Let's leave that enabled. No problem, because with Google, in case of a typo, this is what's going to help you out here. Order processing. When an order gets processed, what happens after an order gets paid? What happens after that, right? Automatically fulfill the order, or automatically fulfill just, whatever. Don't fulfill any other orders or the line items automatically. Yes, this is true. Fulfillment, for those who are new, what does fulfillment mean? So when you get an order, right, that means that you've gotten the money, or the money is in transit, and now it's your turn to actually pick, pack, and ship the product out. That term right there, Pick, pack, and ship the product out means you're fulfilling, right? That's what that term means in e-commerce. So the question that it's asking you is that when an order comes in, do we automatically mark it as fulfilled? No, because you haven't literally picked, packed, and shipped the product. You get what I mean? So we don't want that. We want it so that it waits, and then you manually, once you ship it out or it's been shipped out with drop shipping, you manually say, yes, it's been shipped out, right? So that's why right here, we don't want to do that. We want to kind of like just wait until it does what it needs to do. After an order has been fulfilled and paid, meaning you got your money and you've already shipped it out, or when all items have been refunded, God forbid, right? Automatically archive the order. Yes, we're going to leave that there. Archive means that whenever you get an order, I'm going to show you a notification on Shopify where it kind of throws a number and says, hey, there's an order that's been placed and you have to go ahead and fulfill it. So that number will stay there until you fulfill it, and it'll go down only if you fulfill that order. And so for that case, when an order has been archived, that number goes down, and that number doesn't get counted on the queue or the keg where you need to fulfill the order. Let me run that by to you again. When an order comes in, there's going to be a number that says 1. That means that it's your turn. You have to fulfill one order, right? So rather drop shipping or physical fulfillment, it'll stay active as 1 until you have that tracking number ready, whether if it's from drop shipping or if it's yourself. That number will not go down unless you fulfill that order. And so once you fulfill that order, which we'll go over the steps shortly, do you want to archive it or is it going to stay open, right? And by archiving it, it means it closes and the number goes down. That makes you good. Abandonment checkout emails. So send abandonment checkouts automatically. You could keep this enabled if you're not taking the e-commerce Klaviyo course. The e-commerce Klaviyo, I would take this off because Klaviyo would be handling that. But if you're not dealing with Klaviyo, then just go ahead and leave this right here. Send it to anybody who abandons their checkout, or just send it to email subscribers who abandon their checkout. Anybody who abandons checkout. And send after the recommended time, which is good. Let's leave that there. Everything else looks good. Let's press save. And now we got that out the way. The whole checkout thing. Very, very important. Okay. All right. So aside from all of this, I think those are the most important settings that we have to get out of the way first. We'll come back to the settings a little bit later, but let's just give a little tour as far as how Shopify looks like. A lot of this stuff is very self-explanatory, so I'll be going pretty quickly. And of course, if you want more explanation, more deep dives, then there's other more advanced videos that will talk about these settings. Orders. This is where all your stuff is going to come in. All of your orders are going to show right here. Okay. We're going to go on the details on that in a second. Very quick tour here. Products. This is the database of all your products. Okay. So once we have our products filled out, you're going to notice that the database lives here, and the database have sub databases like collections, the inventory count. We're going to go over that in a few, but this is just very high level as to what all of this means. Customers. Customers is a database of all your customers. They're all going to live here. Again, I repeat, we'll see that in a few, but just to show you where everything lives, right? And then segments is new, and then companies, etc. Content. This is also a database, especially files right here. Anytime we use pictures, anytime we use color swatches, they're going to live in this here, in this section, okay? Finances. Finances has to do with once sales start coming through, when do you get paid? If you start doing Shopify for quite some time and the Shopify pays attention how your sales are going, they might offer you a nice credit. In other words, they're going to be like, look, we're going to front you like 10 G's so that you could buy inventory and all that stuff. And then we'll collect our money back every time you get a sale, which is pretty nice, right? But that's not right away. That's something that comes over time. That's why Shopify is pretty good, because I don't think there's another platform that does something like that. All right, analytics. This is going to be the bread and butter of the business, especially if you're doing some marketing. So once you start getting some sales start coming in, the analytics is going to show you everything. And you need to make all of your decisions based on analytics. We'll go over that also later on. Right here, you'll see that there's reports. And then, of course, there's live view of how many people are actually in the store literally right now from all over the world. we'll talk about that in future segments later on. Marketing, it's not something that I notice a lot of people using, because there's apps that specialize on this type of stuff. So marketing, I'm going to leave that on the back burner for now. Discounts, very straightforward. This is where you go ahead and build your discounts. So a database of discount codes. Finally, we have these other very important ones. The sales channel, you might not see it like this because depending on how you set up your account, this might show up right away. And depending on when you're watching this video, this might show up just like this. But if it isn't, and you notice that sales channel underneath it is empty, you click on right here where it says sales channel, right? And you get to see all of these, right? If you get to see them, okay? And online store, etc. I always like to say that online store should be pinned, right? You'll notice like a little pin right here. Pin it so that it falls right underneath it right there, instead of it just being blank. Point of sale is like if you go to like a conference or something like that and you have products like in a duffel bag, then you could go ahead and use your phone and charge right there on your phone. That's point of sale, like literally selling in front of people. And then shop, think of it like a competitor of Amazon or, Afterpay type of thing, where they get to publish your products in their market, in Shopify's market, like Amazon. And then it also acts like, Afterpay, where, you get to buy things and pay in portions. So Shopify is almost acting like a bank, if that makes any sense. That's what this is. We're not going to deal too much of that at this moment. Don't worry about flow. This is something that we're not going to talk about. Apps, if you click on this one, this is where all your apps are going to live. So if you want to see all the collections of apps, you click right here where it says app settings, and you'll see all of the apps. It'll be mixed with channels, right? There's a difference between apps, third-party apps, and channels. Online store is a channel. Point of sale is a channel. Facebook might be a channel. Pinterest might be a channel. TikTok would be a channel. These are all different outlets as to where you could generate sales. But then apps are other things. Apps are like little softwares and extensions that connect into your store so that you understand the difference. I don't know why Shopify combines them. It's fine. It is what it is. Let's click on online store. Very important. You'll be coming here very often, online store, because online store is the interface where people get to kind of like see what's going on the front end. What you're looking at right now, this admin, think about like you're in a retail store and you're in the stock room in the back. That's what this whole thing is. This right here, this interface is called the admin backend. So if you ever hire a Shopify expert where you want to talk about what is the front end and the back end, this is the back end right here, right? Everything having to do with the admin page. The front end is what the customer sees. So if someone visits your website, right? If someone visits your website and they're seeing, on the menu system, what are we talking about? The front end or the back end? The front end. The front end is what the customer sees. It's this. It's what the customer sees on the front end. And then the back end is this stuff here that we're seeing, this whole interface and all that stuff, right? Themes, we noticed that there's two areas of the themes. I guess we're going to deep dive into what themes are, right? So themes, this big rectangle that you see right here is published. It means what is live on the website right now. What is live on the website? What is published? What is live, right? But then theme library, you could have themes on the backup or on the back burner. You could be working on a theme that hasn't been published yet, right? And those themes that are not published will fall here. Or themes that were published a long time ago, but it's serving as a backup, right? So like, let's pretend that we have this live theme going on right here, but then we made a backup of it and we start making changes to this live theme. And then we're like, we messed up, right? So we need to go back to a non-published theme that we had last week. And then we'll go ahead and make the theme that's non-published go live, right? Again, these are practices that will go more enhanced into the whole membership, okay? How am I doing so far? Am I losing you? Am I going too fast? I want to make sure I'm good with you. Let me know in the comments how I'm doing, right? Yo, Ed, you're going too fast, slow down. Or Ed, you talking too much. I talk a lot. It's okay. Okay, all right, guys. So themes, we're going to go over that in a second. Let's look at this over here temporarily, blog posts. This is one of those secret areas. A lot of people in Shopify, they don't like to talk too much. I don't know why. But blog posts, whenever you're posting your blogs, that's where it lives. for those SEO people, blog post is very important. Pages. So informative pages such as the About Us, the Contact Us, navigation, policy pages, and all that other stuff, this is where they live at. They live here. So if you ever want to find out where is a page for something, this is where it's going to be at. We'll talk about that in a second too. The navigation enterprise system. This is the part where we handle the menus, whether if it's the top menu, whether if it's the bottom footer menu, anything related to menus, sometimes even the side menu. Hold on, right here. The side menu. The side menus, everything having to do with menus would live in a navigation platform right here. Okay, by default, we have footer and we have main menu. Okay, so just remember that one part. Preferences, this has to do with meta tagging. What is the website's meta tag and meta description? Meta tagging means how is Google going to show when people search for you on Google, right? The main title, what comes out in blue, the description, what comes out in the bottom, okay? When you share the link, when you share your link with somebody, how does it come out on WhatsApp and Facebook where the picture comes out on the website? You get to put the picture right there, okay? When we're hooking up Google Analytics, I have a training about Google Analytics as well, okay? That's why important on the Academy. I teach about all that type of stuff. Facebook pixels, we're not going to worry about that too much. The password protection. Okay, let me explain this right now. Right now, at this phase of you watching this video, and if you've been following along so far, your store is not live, regardless if you didn't put the domain or not. Meaning that if anybody finds your URL and they try to go to it, they're going to see like a gate saying maintenance mode. And if you are the owner of this business, or if you have permission, enter the password so that you could see what's on the back end, or so you could see what's on the front end and how the website looks like. So if you have a problem with your store and you're talking to a Shopify developer or expert, they won't be able to see your store because of this password right here. This password is not the password that you made up for your Shopify account. Like the admin password, clearly it isn't, right? It's the password so that somebody from the outside could see what you have on your website. That's what that means. It's the maintenance password. So make sure you write that down. The maintenance password is this. So if someone wants to see it, they won't have access to the back end over here. They'll just have access to what the storefront looks like or the front end looks like. That's all that means right there. Once we're ready to go live, we take this down. And then that's when the store gets published. Wonderful. Very good. Okay, so let's go to the back end settings here real quick. And let's review just some of the things that are pretty easy to understand. Right now we're on store details. If we go to where it says plan, these are the different plans for Shopify. Let's go ahead and briefly talk about them. Let's change plans here real quick. So if you are just on the trial, I'd say chill until the trial's over, right? That means build your store until it's reputable, it looks good. And then once the store is done, or throughout the trial that you have, which is 90 days, then go ahead and make this decision. Let's talk about these three different prices, okay, guys? So right here, we have the basics. It starts at $29 a month. Now, I'm not sure if this $29 a month means that you have to pay for like 1 year, right? But for what I understood, I thought it was $39 a month. I could be wrong. But right here, as you can see, it's $29 a month. If you're watching this video and it's more expensive, let me know down in the comments. But this one is the starter approach. Who would choose the starter one, the $29 a month? Those who are just experimenting. We're not really serious about this business. We don't even know if this thing is going to sell or not. This is something that we have no idea if this is going to take off or not. So we're not. And the reason for that is not because it's the cheapest, obviously, but because we have the least amount of features in it, especially for marketing. If you want to see your analytics, this doesn't have good analytics. If you don't want a Shopify expert, having a seat, this is like the solo person, right? Cheapest of the cheapest, and you're paying very high in transaction fees. In other words, credit card rates. You're paying at 2.9%. That's up there. And then everything else, as you see right here. Okay, you do have support. Everything's all good. This one is what most people get, right? Like if you're doing business already and things are going pretty good, $79 a month is in fact the most popular one. This is not. The reason why Shopify says that it's most popular is because there's a lot of people that are not watching this video. They're trying to like figure things out on their own. You get what I mean? And it's the most popular because they're really trying to figure it out on their own, right? But if you're watching this video, chances are you're going to end up here. You're going to end up this one because it gives you the reports plus all the other classes that I teach you that has to do with marketing, like social media marketing, SEO marketing, like all that other stuff. You're going to need that middle plan because the middle plan, we work together like that. In the sense, you're going to get to see the reports. I teach you how to look at those reports and make decisions on marketing. That's why this is important. And also further down the line, once you start hitting a certain amount of money per month, you're going to plateau and you're going to be like, yo, I can't get more sales than, to give you an exact number, I can't surpass $10,000 a month in sales. That's when you contact me because I'm like, okay, we're going to push you up to the 100,000s a month. Okay. So once you reach that plateau, that's when you're like, oh, Ed, I can hire you for marketing now. We need to hit, 50,000 a month. We need to hit 80,000, 100,000, and so on and so forth. Advance. This is when you've been my customer for quite some time, and now we're trying to escalate it even more, right? Now we have PR involved. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So advance, we'll talk there when we get there. I want to say in your year 3, like you're really doing it. And plus, this is for enterprise solutions. We're in the multi-million in a year in revenue, and we mean business, right? So right here, I have several clients that are over here, and they make dope money. So plus, we talk about maybe year 4 or something like that. That's what this is. So anyways, so guys, basic plan, Shopify plan. Basic plan is if you're kind of testing waters, you're really not sure if this business is going to work out. But Shopify is if you're serious, you've invested in my course. We're trying to make things launch. We're trying to make things real. Okay. All right. So once you go ahead and do that, we're going to go back into settings and we're going to go into billing. Billing, you already know, right? As far as, the Shopify bill that you pay for and any apps, they all kind of get combined. So you're not paying for apps all over the place. No, they kind of like concatenate it together. They combine it together and then it's just one bill. You get what I mean? So apps plus Shopify bill, that's what this means. Users and permissions, anybody that you have hired or, yourself and some other team members, this is the user control. Shopify payments, how you're going to get paid, right? You're going to go through here, activate Shopify payments. I'm not even going to get down that topic, but Shopify payments, okay? Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that use it, but I've heard so many horror stories of people getting their money locked in because they can't release it, like a lot of money. And so yeah, nah, I want to protect you guys. So just make sure that you're good on Shopify payments. That's all you need. That's all you need. If you get customers that start complaining, why you don't have PayPal? Send them my way. I'll talk to them. Okay, so activate Shopify payments. We're not going to go through this because it asks for very sensitive information, such as your social security number, your date of birth, what color is your dog. Like they ask a whole bunch of things that it makes no sense for us going through it, but just go through that. Enter all that information out so that you can get paid, your bank information, checking number, routing number. A lot of private stuff goes down here. So make sure you go ahead and put that in there. Everything else, payment capture automatically at checkout. What this means is that once they actually pass their credit card, do you want Shopify to actually speak to the credit cards and pull that money? Or do you want to hold on to the credit card? Not literally you hold on to the number, but Shopify as a system. Do you want to hold on and then you say, okay, I approve, pull that money? You could do that. Why would you want to do that? You want to do that if you're in one of those businesses that have very high chargebacks. For example, if you are selling women's hair, if you are selling women's nails, if you're selling waist trainers, it's a risky business. There's a lot of chargebacks. So what you want to do is that if you're in one of those types of businesses, you don't want to automatically at checkout. You want to manually pull it out. Why? Because you want to verify who that customer is first. You want to use an app to verify that it's not fraud to protect you. And if it's fraud, you never pulled the money, you're safe, right? So that's what I mean. But everybody else, put that right there. Manual payment methods, we don't have to deal with any of this stuff. This gets into deeper topics, like if you're selling, that dispensary stuff. You get the THCs and all that. If you're into that, these guys will be a no-go. Sorry. You're going to have to go through a custom payment method. And if you're in that industry and you have a very hard time, you contact me. We'll do a consultation and I'll show you exactly where to go. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. Yeah, that type of thing. Okay, so we're going to go and continue. We already spoke about checkouts, customer accounts. We don't have to worry about this too much over here. Shipping and delivery. This is its own video. We're going to talk about that in the future. Taxes. This is its own video. It's pretty deep. We're going to go through that on another video. Locations. We already went through that. Gift cards. Self-explanatory. You just look at that. You handle that. Markets right here. Where you want to sell to. Let's leave it. Don't mess with it. Domains. Okay, so domains, if you guys have a GoDaddy or from Namecheap, that's actually one of the first things that you should do. So right off the rip, here's what I'm going to tell you. You can pause this video, go to GoDaddy, type in the name of the business, the .com that you want. See if it's even available, okay? Because chances are they might not be, all right? And quick crash course, don't make it a long name. Something that's very easy to spell. It's okay to buy the .net if the .com is not available. But just make sure that whoever owns the .com doesn't have a store of things that you're selling, right? Because then it becomes a conflict of interest and competition. What you want to do is make sure that you buy a domain that is very easy to understand. 2 names, right? Like 2 names. In other words, the beast, like that, .com, easy. And at max, you could go 3 names. thebigbeast.com, right? But the flower shop of San Diego, that's ridiculous. Don't do that. Make it short and sweet. .com or .net works just fine. If they try to do the something else, it gets crazy. But this is where you plug it up. Okay, do you have to do this right now? No. Let's focus on building the store first. But buy the domain. Buy the domain, because if buy for 1 year, make sure that you have it set to auto renew. Okay, it should be cheap. You shouldn't pay no more than like $14. It's probably between $7 to $14 at max. Okay, but just hold on to it. We don't have to set that up right away. Customer events, we're going to leave that there. Brand, we don't need it. Notifications, you might play around with it in case if you need somebody to know anytime a sales goes through. Customer data, everything else is all good. And over here, like policy, privacy policies, etc. Okay. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and end it on this video as far as like the quick tour of Shopify. On the next video, let's go ahead and mount some products in for this client so that we could continue in this process. Okay. Again, if you like the way that I train, the full course, you already know Academy E-commerce. That's how we get down. And for those who are watching in Academy E-commerce, what's going on? I'm sure you did a very good investment on this. You will be happy with everything that goes down. All right. See you next time.